The Abduction, Part 3, written by D.J. Reese and Mac Montgomery from the writing group Krave. Disclaimer: the following story depicts scenes of graphic and brutal violence, as well as content concerning disturbing crimes against children. Chapter 1. D.J. Reese. Watching Mac conjure the location of our perp was pretty amazing. I'm not one to discount good old-fashioned detective work, but what he did saved us time, and right now, time is a luxury we just don't have. I call Rick and tell him the location of where we suspect the girls are being held, and the fact that we're going to need an extraction team. Rick, I want Eli with us too, but I'm going to be the point person on this one. If what I think is happening in there, those girls will need to see a female face. He agrees and tells me the team is on the way. Eli is the first through the door, wearing a grin that I'm sure I'll see all night. What are you so happy about? He snorts an answer. I love busting bad guys anyway, but this shit will be a pleasure. He's grinning, but it's the kind of smile that chills your blood because you know it comes from a dark, demented place. I touch his forearm gently. You'll get your chance, okay? Our priority is to find those girls and get them out of there safely. My guess is there's enough sick bastards out there in this lucrative business. They're not going to just give us the girls because we show up. Eli starts to bristle and stands to his full height over me. Look, rookie, this is not my first time at the rodeo. I know exactly what we're walking into. I see Mac lift his hands, and I assume he's about to do something that will neutralize the male standing over me. I meet his eyes quickly and give him a subtle head shake. Turning my attention back to Eli, I don't mean to offend you, Eli. I apologize. I have a soft spot for children being hurt this way. I meant no disrespect. His eyes soften minutely, giving me the impression we can move on. I hold out my hand. Are we okay? He grunts something unintelligible and pulls me in for a bear hug that almost crushes me. We're good, Squirt. Just remember, we're all on the same team. Just then, the rest of our group walks in, looking between the two of us. I shake my head with a grin. Don't ask. We spend a few minutes going over the plan to make sure everyone knows their role before we start out. Chapter 2. Mac Murdock. A growing part, deep inside of me, agrees with the meaning behind Eli's dark smile. These bastards must be stopped, and I'm more than happy to play a part in it, no matter what that part may be. We gather around the table, plotting out the details of the plan to infiltrate the dilapidated hotel. Rick explains that he's made arrangements for me to pose as a client. My teeth grind at the mere thought of people performing sexual acts upon children, much less paying to do so. I rein in my anger and focus again on the details of the plan, giving extra attention to the layout of the building. DJ points to a room on the top floor where she believes the girls are being held. She explains it's the most logistically sound location for them, quiet and out of the way. The plan is for me to enter the building and present myself as a client in need of a young companion. I will be relaying details to Kyle, the telepath on DJ's team. I speak the information I want him to know inside my mind, and Kyle can hear me, my thoughts coming through without emotion, like a mental text message. This will keep the team informed of my location and of the number of people inside. It will also let DJ know when I've found the girls. Once the girls are located, the team will swarm the building, and I'm to cast a spell, effectively paralyzing all of the degenerate clientele as well as those working. With a final look at DJ and a nod to the rest of the team, I head out the back of the building, across from the hotel. We know they have surveillance set up, so I get into the Mercedes waiting for me in the alley. I drive around the block to make it look as if I'm approaching the hotel for the first time. Not only am I being watched by those in the hotel, I'm also being watched by the team, so I make sure to keep my outer facade calm and relaxed. Stepping from the car, I straighten the jacket of my suit before shooting the cuffs and striding toward the entrance. Chapter 3. D.J. Reese. Before we got to the location, I discovered a busy building situated across the street diagonally. It's a small hotel with shops and restaurants on the first floor, so the foot traffic is substantial enough that our group won't attract attention as we gather. Eli and I start so we can get set up. We enter arm in arm with several suitcases in tow, looking like a couple visiting the city. I whisper at him through a smile, "Don't get any ideas." He barks a laugh and leans over to whisper in my ear, adding to the appearance of us being a loving couple, "Not on your life. I prefer females more demonic than you can be. You heavenly types give me the creeps." I smack him on the arm, and we both laugh as we scale the steps. The desk clerk checks us in, and I ask for a room facing the street. I give her a bright smile and explain that I sleep better with the sound of traffic. She returns the smile and selects what she calls the perfect room. A few minutes later, we're escorted to our room along with our suitcases. Eli tips the bellman, and we watch him leave. When we know he's far enough away from our door, I text the rest of the team our room number, while Eli gets to work unpacking the equipment and weapons. In preset intervals, our colleagues start showing up in various combinations so as not to draw too much attention. Once we're assembled, Kyle opens a channel to Mac so he can receive the intel we need. I clear my mind as well so I can be open to Mac's emotions. Often, feelings will register before thoughts, so I want to make sure we have Mac completely covered. Chapter 4. Mac Murdock. The interior of the building is nothing like I expected. From the exterior, I anticipated shabby run-down floors and fixtures, worn-out furniture, and peeling wallpaper. However, the opulence before me is staggering and outshines any five-star hotel I've ever visited. There are a number of males loitering in the lobby. The auras around them range from excitedly eager to sexually sated. A spire of anger swirls through me, and I scan the lobby a little closer. I spy at least 5 armed men, which I assume are security, stationed in the shadows. I quickly relay that information to Kyle. I walk to the reception desk and flash the forged credentials to the beautiful blonde human behind the counter. She scans the card, and after a moment, a soft beep comes from her computer. She smiles brightly at me. "Welcome, Mr. Murdock. We're pleased you could join us this evening." My stomach recoils at the saccharine sweet tone of her voice, but I give her a boyish grin. "Thank you. I'm looking forward to an eventful evening." A dark glint twinkles in her eyes, and her smile widens. "Since this is your first time with us, Miles will be by your side until you make your purchase. He will explain how the evening will progress." Her smile is chilling, almost as if she revels in the degradation these innocent girls are forced to suffer, and she motions to a man who had moved silently to my side. I nod and turn to him, taking his offered hand as he greets me. "Mr. Murdock, welcome. If you'll follow me, we'll get started." We walk to the elevator while he talks. We're going to the viewing room. While there, the merchandise will be brought before you to examine. Once your inspection and selection is completed, I will escort you to your room, where your purchase will be waiting. We exit the elevator onto the top floor. There is another lobby with a variety of chairs. He motions for me to sit, and a young girl of about 15, dressed in a French maid's uniform, brings me a glass of scotch. I have to hold back the bile that has risen in my throat, and I try to give the girl a genuine smile to somehow let her know I'm not there to hurt her. I take the glass, and she scampers off while Miles continues. "You're free to do as you wish with your investment. However, bloodletting and bruising are, of course, an extra charge." Chapter 5. DJ Reese. Kyle gives us regular updates to Mac's whereabouts and his mental state. The others nod and listen, but I'm inundated with his emotions. He's doing his best to remain calm, but I feel the inner turmoil he's masking. At one point, I have to take several deep breaths to fend off a bout of nausea. I don't even want to imagine the horror he's seeing. With my eyes closed, I send out my strength to him, along with a prayer. Hang in there, Mac. Chapter 6. Mac Murdock. Miles grins at me. Shall we get started? He pushes a discreetly hidden button, and a door opens from the corner of the viewing room. Young girls walk slowly out in a single file. The first few in line seem to be in their mid-teens. Their skin is gaunt and they're thin, too thin. Their cheeks sink in, an obvious sign of malnourishment. They're dressed in various costumes, one in a slinky negligee, another in a schoolgirl outfit, and my anger spikes dangerously at the sight of them. While they're clean and polished, the defeat and humiliation that radiates off them spurs the rage simmering under my skin. Miles is prattling on, giving details on each girl, such as age and special talents, and I force myself to tune him out. I clench my jaw for a moment, then lift my glass to my lips and force myself to maintain control. The teens stand to one side, feebly attempting to play their roles. The next girls that walk in look to be around 9 or 10. They too are dressed up, though not in costumes. They look like sweet little girls in flowery dresses and patent leather shoes. My eyes land on Emily, my client's daughter, and I study her. She looks nervous and scared. Her terror-filled eyes meet mine for a moment, and I can see her loss of innocence. Fuck. Someone has defiled her, although her eyes are not as dull as the others, so it may have been only once, which is one time too many. Just when I'm about to raise my hand to signal Miles that I've made my selection, another group of girls start walking through the door and my heart stops. These little ones can't be more than 6. My hands start to twitch and I feel the electricity of barely controlled magic start moving through my body. When the last little one freezes in the doorframe, my eyes land on her. The panicked look on her tiny face has me leaning forward, ready to rise, when hands appear behind her, shoving her forward. She stumbles and falls to the floor in a heap of soft blonde curls and pink tulle. White-hot fury fills me, severing the last trindle of control I have, and I explode from the chair, magic crackling in the air. Without thought, ancient chants fill my head, and my hands rise toward Miles. He stares at me, stunned, slams his hand down upon what I can only assume to be a panic button. With a flick of my wrist, his hand bursts into flames and shrivels to a blackened, twisted, charcoal-coated mass of bony agony. His eyes fill with sudden awareness and terror, a scream tearing from his twisted lips. You sorry son of a bitch! I point at him and flames shoot from his eyes, eliciting even greater howls of anguish. I extend my arm and make a tight fist, resulting in his good hand clutching his chest in response to his heart being squeezed to the point of bursting. Just then I hear pounding feet running toward us, so with a final twitch of my wrist, his head wrenches impossibly far to the left, and with a loud crack, his cries are suddenly cut short as his neck snaps, and he crumples bonelessly to the floor. I immediately turn and face the oncoming security that is racing toward me. The girls scream and scatter, huddling together in pockets, trying to hide behind furniture. They've seen enough horror already, so a quick muttering spell throws up a shield protecting them from having to witness what I'm about to do. Then, as if gathering power, I pull my arms to me in a circular motion, followed by thrusting them forward, causing the 4 charging guards to fly backward, slamming with stunning force into the wall. The enormity of what these men have done to children has driven my rage far beyond the point of any chance of receiving mercy from me, and their mouths open in silent screams when I lift them each in turn with a gesture, magical power crackling like lightning from my fingertips. Taking each guard one at a time, I fling my arms wide over and over until they are ripped apart and the pieces flung across every corner of the room. I look around, waiting for more guards to come. When none do, I turn to scan the girls until I finally find Emily. My eyes lock onto hers, and I squat down in an attempt to look less threatening. Emily, your father hired me to find you. I'm here to save you. I look at all the girls, to save all of you. I have friends that are on their way here right now to take you home. Emily looks at me warily. Then her gaze lands on the body of Miles, the spell thankfully still shielding her and the others from seeing the dismembered guards. Her eyes return to me, and she gives me the smallest nod. Chapter 7. DJ Reese. An unseen force buckles my knees and knocks me to the floor just as Kyle cries out. A searing pain assaults my mind, and I give a blood-curdling scream. Thank the gods the room was warded before we started, because I know I sound like a homicide victim. Eli rushes over and helps me up from the floor, the whole time asking me what's going on. When I gather my senses, I stand and bolt from the room wordlessly. I hear a flurry of activity as Eli barks orders behind me and gets the team moving. I run past the elevator and down several flights of stairs. My feet are being driven, independent of me, by the intensity of the pain I felt from him. Mac has been holding on by a tenuous thread for a while now. I could feel it, even though he did well to mask the majority of it. If what I felt is any indication of what's happening, that thread has finally given way. I run through the lobby and out the door. The singular thought of getting to Mac and the girls pulling me forward. Somehow, I get across the busy street without being flattened by a car and run smack into the locked entrance. With a burst of internal light, I'm able to get it open and run in. I stop and see bodies everywhere. As I suspected, Mac has seen enough and has lost it. I follow multiple tendrils of emotion and go deeper into the building. I find the girls huddled in a corner, some crying, others providing comfort. I approach slowly with my hands visible, speaking quietly. I'm here to help you. I'm with the man that did this, okay? Most nod silently while the others just stare at me. Are there any others? One of the older girls answers, No, the man said to get everyone and wait for you here. This is all of us. Eli and the rest of the extraction team come in just then. I turn to him. I'll get these girls. You check the rest of the building, and for God's sake, somebody find Mac.